Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Of course, here to talk to you about our September 2025 pattern for Crew, our sewing membership. And of course, in Crew this year, we are exploring the concept of decades. So every month we're exploring a different decade, a different period of fashion history, maybe looking at some iconic people from that era, being inspired by that, but then trying to make clothes that are maybe vintage inspired, maybe inspired by the past, but that are beautiful and wearable today. So this kind of idea of looking to the past, but making it work in the present. So I'm very excited about this pattern. It is the Peggy Jacket, and it is named after Peggy Guggenheim, who was an iconic art figure in the 1950s. She was a philanthropist. She was a supporter of the arts. She was a very, very influential figure in terms of modern art representation in the 20th century, and it felt like a great inspiration for this jacket. But of course, if you're looking at this jacket right now, it is clear that this is very inspired by those boxy Chanel jackets that originated mid-century. And for Peggy, it really feels like we're straddling a 50s and 60s era. Obviously the 50s, new look, big skirt dresses, very feminine. And then as we start moving into the 60s, things start getting a little bit more gamine, a little bit more minimalist. The silhouettes start narrowing a little bit, boxiness starts coming into play. And so this jacket, rather than being a super fitted French style jacket, it's more of a slightly boxy, less fitted jacket. And for me, this is very like a jacquard look. But what I love about this style is it's timeless. Like, I think this looks as cool today. I'm just wearing a tank and a pair of jeans right now. I love the way a Chanel style jacket looks with beat up, stonewashed jeans and a pair of sneakers. I think it's so chic. And we can obviously find a million examples throughout the last 50, 60 years of many very stylish women wearing this jacket. It's just one of those things that like literally never goes out of style. There's a reason that people buy Chanel jackets. They put them in their closet and they're able to wear them for the next 50 years. So we hope that you're able to kind of get the same longevity out of your Peggy. So let's take a look at this jacket in more detail and talk about some of the features and design decisions that we made when we were drafting it. So here we've got two of our samples of the Peggy jacket. As you can see, it's like slightly, I don't know if I want to say cropped. It's not sitting at your natural waist. It's sitting at about high hip. Just a really, like in terms of proportions, such a nice jacket to wear with jeans and pants because you're not kind of like having anything over your hip. You still get to kind of see the width of the hip through the jacket. And we've designed two views of this coat. So the first one is, you can see on the right, or on my right, there's no overlap at center front. So that center front line is happening right here, and there's no closures. So we're doing this just to have a slightly more casual, I guess, blazer-like feel. If you wanted to, you could sew in those hook and eyes underneath the center front line and still be able to close it. But we really just designed this to be like a really casual coat that you could just throw on over a t-shirt. And you can see here, what I like about this pattern is it really works on a wide variety of fabrics. But here, we're doing it in almost like a tweed suiting. A lighter weight suiting, and it works really well. So this is a great, because it doesn't take a ton of fabric, and if you have any wool sitting in your stash, this is a great opportunity to use it up. And what we had a little fun with too, you can see, is just, you know, it would be just a classic chic jacket, but then we did a little bit of fringe with the actual fabric to add a little bit of that kind of Chanel-like detail, a little bit of a couture touch that we inserted at the hem and along the sleeves. And it's a really classic jacket. We've got a slight jewel neckline. We've got a set-in sleeve that's really meant to sit, you know, up on your shoulder. We've got a little patch pocket, very Chanel, that can either be top stitched or invisibly stitched, and it's fully lined, this pocket. So we have some methods to show you of how to do this invisibly. So it's got a bit of, again, a couture detail. The jacket is fully lined. It's got a facing. And it's just the cutest little thing, and it's actually a fairly quick project. And it's also a great introduction to tailoring because we're not really doing any fussy collars or lapels or anything like that. We have included some interfacing pieces to stabilize things like the sleeve head and the shoulder, which tend to get stretched out if they're not stabilized. But this pattern really has a minimal amount of pieces and does come together relatively quickly. If I turn it to the back, it's a very simple back. We don't have a lot of shaping here. So again, the construction of this, you can see, comes together pretty quickly. We don't have a lot of fussy seam lines. We have a back, a front, a sleeve, a pocket, and then the lining pieces. The second view that we have with Peggy is more of a jacket. So that's the version I'm wearing right now. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to do the buttonholes on mine. I'm gonna have to do that this weekend. But you can see it here constructed. The main difference between our 14 to 32 version and our 0 to 20 version is with our plus size range, we are accommodating a larger bust. So we did integrate a kind of vintage style dart that's coming from the shoulder and heading to the bust. And I think it looks so chic in this beautiful tweed. And this version, the center fronts overlap, so you can actually go and do a button here. And you can see, I think this is such a chic, chic, chic jacket. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I wish it fit me because I would take it home. We also did a little bound buttonhole here. So if you're a little bit scared of buttonholes, a bound buttonhole for this project is definitely an option. I love these kind of vintage ball buttons. And we do have both of these versions available as fabric kits at Core Fabrics. So if you want to recreate this, you can. The buttons are going to be a little different at Core Fabrics because we sourced some really cool military style buttons that you would be getting with this kit. But if you are just making this with stuff that you have at home, this is such a fun project. We all have those button tins where you have a handful of special buttons you never know what to do with. And this feels like a really good opportunity to use those. You can see here, we even put like a little button on the pockets just to give it a little bit more of that kind of Chanel detail. And they don't necessarily match, but I think they look great together. So I think fun project to kind of think about how those little buttons are going to add that design element for you. So this does up, but you can also wear it open like I'm wearing now. Again, here's that sleeve. And all in all, I just think this is like one of the most classic, iconic silhouettes and shapes. We did not mess with a good thing. We kept it simple, we kept it classic. And again, this is the type of jacket that you are going to have in your wardrobe for the rest of your life. It is never going to go out of style. If you are looking for fabric ideas, like I said, it works well with suitings. This is actually a coating weight fabric, so that also works for this fabric. It had a nice bit of drape because of the looseness of this tweed. So you can maybe even go a little bit heavier, but basically any bottom weight fabric. This is a jacquard I got in France a few years ago. It worked beautifully, but any kind of suiting weight fabric, wool, I think it would even work in twills and denims. You're gonna get a bit more of a crisp, structured shape. But anything that's got a little bit of body and a little bit of structure is gonna work great for this coat. And then of course, anything for the lining, you're gonna wanna use rayon Bemberg, silk, anything kind of nice and luxurious. And again, that lining is another opportunity to have fun and play a little bit and have that beautiful design detail. So if you have a really beautiful printed silk in your stash that you've been wanting to use, you don't have very much of it, this is the perfect project for it. So if you like Peggy, here's how you can get it. It is part of our monthly and annual crew membership. So of course, if you just want Peggy for the month, you want to dip in, you can get in, sign up, get the pattern, unsubscribe. There is no minimum or maximum amount of time you need to join. Of course, if you'd like to join us in Unlimited, this is where all the fun is happening. You get access to Gabby, our fit expert. So if this is a jacket you're fitting and you're struggling with any element of it, Gabby is there to help. And you also get discounts at Closet Core Patterns, Deer & Doe, and Core Fabrics, where you can get, as I mentioned, the kits for this class. We also have our perfect match collection. So if you'd like to see other fabrics at Core Fabrics that work for this pattern, even just to get some ideas, that is a wonderful resource. So that is it for our Peggy jacket. Of course, we want to see what you're making. If you're on social media, it's Closet Core Peggy. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next month.